Hi, my name is Cassidy Kramer, and I wrote my final paper's topic on changes in the Arctic. I wrote my topic on this because these changes have greatly impacted myself, my family, my community, and also my culture. One of the major changes is the caribou herd declination. Caribou is our main source of meat, and commercial meats are very expensive, so we rely on the caribou to feed us throughout the year. The thought of having to go on conservative management mode with our caribou, like we had to do with our Dall sheep in 2014, is a scary thought. Another change that we have had to live through is climate change. In this presentation, I will talk more about the direct effects it has on our caribou and sheep, along with 2 villages in rural Alaska. Something else that my family finds very important is gender roles. Now, what I mean by finds very important is that we want to break the gender roles. So gender roles are basically transparent within my family, but they haven't always been like that. I think that the breaking of gender roles is an example of a good change in my Inupiat culture. One of the factors in the Western Arctic caribou herd declination is the non-resident versus resident argument. Now, this is an ongoing fight, and each side has a solid point as of why the other side is wrong. Starting with the non-residents argument, they argue that they only take about 500 to 800 caribou out of the 14,000 that are harvested. This means that the residents take about 13,500. Now, this is a drastic difference in range. But the residents fire back, bringing up the point that non-resident hunters mainly take bulls, which can hurt a caribou population. In a discussion with Lance Kramer, who is formerly the Senior Director of Lands, he points out that the healthy sustainable herd ratio of bulls to females is 40 to 100. Any number lower than 40 bulls can result in a gradual population depletion. Therefore, to increase our depleting caribou populations, we can cut out the small factors that are in our control, like limiting the non-resident hunters. However, what we can't control is the ongoing climate change that has already affected our Dall sheep in Game Management Unit 23. Climate change also has affected villages all across Alaska, and I will be pointing out 2 of them that are very close to flooding over. The thawing and refreezing of snow mixed with rain creates an icy crust on the snow, which makes it harder for caribou and sheep to reach their food. The result in this is weak, starving sheep and caribou, and those are easy prey for wolves and other predators. Next, I'll be talking about a village called Newtok in the Yukon-Kuskokwim Delta River area. It is prone to flooding because it is near to the Bering Sea and because it sits on permafrost. Erosion is moving the Ninglek River closer to Newtok, and factors like river currents, increased temperatures, thawing permafrost, and wave action is speeding up the erosion process. With the village starting to erode, the lives of inhabitants are threatened, and many of the village's vital facilities are being wrecked by climate-induced ecological changes. The village of Kivalina, Alaska is also in the same boat as Newtok. Kivalina is a village in my region and is in the process of relocation due to climate change. The shore ice is important in places like Kivalina because it provides a buffer between damaging storm waves and the delicate rocky coastline. In 2004, Kivalina had mild temperatures which delayed development of shore ice. This led to erosion that damaged the community's only facility that provides public laundry, toilets, and showers. The closure of the facility led to an increase of skin infection. The flooding in Kivalina has not only affected Kivalina community members, it has affected all the surrounding villages. In the Northwest Arctic region, it is 80% Inupiaq Eskimos, which means one thing: family. We are all connected in some way or another, which makes the circumstances in Kivalina even harder to think about. It is difficult to see your family have to deal with things like skin diseases, not having a washateria for months, and limited use of the washateria throughout the years. Wherever these people go, it is good that the government is doing something about it, like spreading awareness and helping with costs. But what would happen if they took the problem head on? We would not be in the situations we are in now if climate change were addressed a long time ago when it first started to cause damages. An article written by Cameron M. Smith talks about his experience from a trip going up to Barrow, Alaska. Smith attends a meeting held to consider listing the polar bear as threatened. The Fish and Wildlife Service argue that the polar bear populations are declining and should be listed as threatened because of the decline of sea ice. When the natives do not want the polar bears listed as threatened because they don't need to be. The Fish and Wildlife Service, according to the natives, only focused on the fact that the bear populations were decreasing and saw it as an opportunity to promote poor, helpless polar bears, instead of getting to the fact of greenhouse gas emissions. Smith directly says in his article that putting the polar bear on the endangered list wouldn't stop illegal poaching in Russia, or the sea ice from retreating, or anything else that was actually affecting polar bear populations. In fact, it would mask the real issue of climate change. I think this quote really nips at the fact that the government has been masking climate change with other things that people want to see. Now I'm going to talk about gender roles. I talked with my Anna, or my grandmother, Gladys Pungawi, about what she has seen as a kid compared to what she sees today with gender roles. She said that there is a major difference in roles today. She grew up in Norvik, Alaska, another village in our Northwest region, and as a kid she noticed that men were expected to be out in the dead of winter to hunt and trap to support the family, and the women were the caretakers of the family. In the summertime, the woman played a major role in putting fish, berries, and greens away for the winter. My Anna also said that when she was a girl, women did not participate in traditional councils. I honestly think that this cultural shift is for the better. And I am glad I was raised in the Inupiat lifestyle of practicing both sides because now I know where it came from. In the future, I plan on teaching my kids and anyone else who is willing to learn what my parents and others in the community have taught me. I've had a lot of fun this semester, and I've also learned a lot about my own culture and others around Alaska. Thank you.